In the 1990s, Japan wasn't just making sports cars, it was in the middle of an arms race. Turbo Supras, rotary RX-7s, Evo versus WRX battles, every manufacturer was pushing the limits of power and technology, but they were all playing under the same rule, the gentleman's agreement. No more than 280 horsepower, at least not according to the brochure. But behind the marketing and the fine print, one car kept breaking the rules, on paper, on track, and eventually in global pop culture. This is the story of how the R34 GT-R became Godzilla. This is the making of a monster. The R34 didn't appear out of nowhere. It was the final evolution of a formula that started a decade earlier. The R32 GT-R dominated Group A racing so completely that it earned the nickname Godzilla, a Japanese monster crushing everything in its path. The R33 refined it, and the R34 sharpened the weapon one last time. It launched in 1999 with the RB26 twin-turbo straight-six, officially capped at 276 horsepower, but actually making more. It also came with Nissan's most advanced tech of the era, the ATTESA ETS Pro all-wheel drive, the four-wheel steering, a 6-speed Getrag, and now the famous multifunctional display showing live car telemetry. The R34 was smaller and more focused than the R33. It was the closest Nissan ever got to building a road-legal touring car, a machine built for grip, precision, and speed. But engineering is only half the story. The real explosion came from the culture around the car. The late 90s and early 2000s were peak tuner era Japan. Wangan Midnight, Mountain Touge battles, endless magazine features, and tuning houses like Nismo, Mines, Top Secret, and HKS pushing the RB26 to insane levels. Then, two things solidified the legend internationally. One, Gran Turismo. Millions of players grew up driving the R34 in the game long before they ever saw one in real life. And two, Fast and Furious. Paul Walker, behind the wheel of a silver R34, burned the car into Western car culture permanently. Combining all that with the US import ban, and the R34 wasn't just a cool JDM car, it became forbidden fruit. Demand skyrocketed, prices followed, and the legend grew, and by the time production ended in 2002, the R34 had solidified itself as the definitive JDM halo car. The R34 did something the later R35 never managed. It blended raw mechanical feel with early-era Japanese electronic wizardry, analog where it should be, digital where it mattered. It marked the end of the Skyline era. Well, kinda. The end of the RB26, and the end of Japan's golden age of turbocharged performance. And that's why the car matters, not because of the numbers, but because it represents the pinnacle of what the old school could do before the world changed. Now let's see how this monster handles the most demanding track of all, the Nürburgring Nordschleife. In Assetto Corsa, I took the R34 GT-R around the Nürburgring and clocked a time of 8 minutes and 39 seconds. The R34 has a very unique driving feel, I think due to its four-wheel steering. On occasion, it feels like you're losing the back end, however, it's just rotating harder than your brain expects. The lap places the R34 GT-R in third position, or currently second from the last on the Lap Legends leaderboard, just behind the S550 Mustang GT and just ahead of the 986 Boxster. A respectable middle-of-the-pack performer, not the fastest we've tested, but an icon nonetheless worthy of the Godzilla name. A monster built from engineering, culture, and a decade of Japanese rivalry. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Lap Legends, and if you're into this kind of history meets hot lap content, hit like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next episode because we're heading straight into the heart of Germany's golden age of performance to test yet another legend.